Hi, I'm Natalie Ledwell, and today I want to share with you how to use meditation to form a good habit in just 5 days. Now, meditation is much like physical exercise. You need to get into a groove, you need to get into a routine, you need to be consistent. You need to figure out a sustainable routine and keep it going. And if you start slacking, well, it's frightfully easy to fall back into old habits. You start to reverse all the results that you worked so hard for, and you start avoiding mirrors because they remind you of how much you're failing and not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Now, I've committed my life to personal growth for over a decade now, but am I immune to this phenomenon? Yeah, I wish. I mean, a few months back, I was going through a bit of a stressful patch, things with business, with different projects I was working on, and a few personal issues. And then one night, after a particularly challenging day, I could hear this little soft voice as I walked through my front door, and it was a little bottle of Pinot Noir from my favourite Australian vineyards. It was beckoning me to come and spend the rest of the evening drinking it and sitting in front of the TV, of which I gladly obliged. Now, the problem with that, if it was one night, not a problem. But then one night turned into every night. And I found myself realizing that I got back into this routine of finishing work, sitting down with a glass of wine and sitting in front of the TV and kind of numbing out. My little indulgence became a habit. Now in the evenings, rather than reading, I'd sit there and binge watch Game of Thrones. But what used to be a generous wine stash is now actually a stack of empty bottles. And a wine fridge that's got an echo in it. So when I realized it got to a point where I needed to make a change is when I woke up the next morning and I'm really sluggish and I'm really scatterbrained and I'd actually forgotten an appointment and I feel like I'm more stressed before. I feel like I'm overwhelmed and I can't keep up with my workload. So it really got to a point where I had to do something about it. So when I missed that appointment, I knew it was time for a new evening habit that would actually melt away any of my stress and fatigue rather than adding to it. We use wine and TV and whatever else we want to numb out because we're stressed, but all it's doing is compounding the problem. So what I need to do was to choose a different habit that would then be able to give me the same results that TV and wine did, but without compounding the problem. And after years of conscious practice, I knew that meditation was going to be that thing. And because besides, meditation is easy. Meditation is an easy thing to do. So studies say it takes 21 days to lock in a new habit. But here's a game plan that I used to actually get rid of my bad habit and start meditating regularly. Because even when you realize that you've got a habit or you've got a routine that you want to change, realizing what you want to eliminate is just the first step. Knowing what you want to replace it with is even more important. Okay, so I journaled my little routine that I went through in the 5 days. So I'm going to share what I journaled with you today, and hopefully that you can duplicate this for yourself, be able to get rid of any of the bad habits that you may have. I came home after work, walked in the kitchen, and went to reach for the wine rack, which is what I normally do. Now, I caught myself, and instead, I brewed a pot of tea. And I know you've heard me talk before about my girlfriend Zina Mazika's magic hour tea. It's just absolutely stunning. So I did that instead. So I sat down in the middle of the living room and I started to meditate. Now, this is day 1, so I'm feeling pretty stressed and I still have brain fog, so it's making it really hard for me to meditate. And I really wanted to be doing something else. I'm feeling like I'm itching and I'm twitching and I couldn't really sit comfortably. And all I'm thinking about is, I really want a glass of wine. I really want to watch TV. But I kind of pushed through that and it wasn't easy. I did about 15 minutes of meditation and then I read a book and then I went to sleep. Now my aha moment on that first day is that, you have to acknowledge your impulses and make a conscious decision not to do them or to correct them. So I realized that I was just in the habit of walking through the door and going straight to the wine rack. And then I was able to stop myself and make a tea instead. Okay, so on day 2, I had a few friends that actually asked me out for drinks after work and I'm like, no. I actually found it pretty easy to decline because I'm like, no, I'm sticking to my routine. And I think once you get through one day, it's easier to get into the next day. And so what I did on the second night is I actually broke down the wine rack and I sort of put it away. So when I'm walking in, I'm not looking at it, I can't see it. So it's not like it's a trigger for me. It's not reminding me that I really want a glass of wine. And then when I sat down to do my meditation, I sat down in the middle of the living room and I'm looking at the TV going, I probably shouldn't be facing the TV. probably in a similar position that I would if I was watching the TV. So, and I realized again, this is a trigger. So I decided to get up and move to the bedroom, but I did my meditation in the bedroom instead. So meditation was better the second night. I still had a little bit too much mind chatter going on, which is, kind of to be expected. But I wasn't as anxious as I was the first night. So my aha moment on that second day was, it's easy for you to reduce your resistance during meditation when you remove all the triggers around you in your surroundings. So it's not like when it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So it's not like in your face going, watch me, drink me, eat me, or whatever that is, okay? All right, so day 3 was a pretty stressful day at work, lots of things going on. And then I got home and I did a good job of removing all the external distractions from the night before. But this night, it wasn't the external stuff that was distracting me, it was more of my internal stuff. It was my mind chatter, it was my thoughts. Now I knew I needed a backup. So sitting there and trying to grunt my way through like a 15-minute meditation was not going to be as easy this night. So I actually switched on a Brainwave meditation audio that was actually engineered by a friend of mine. Now, with the brainwave audios, what happens is that it helps you to get your brainwave state into a meditative state, so it's easier to get into the meditation. So rather than white knuckling it like I did the first couple of nights, I was able to use this audio as kind of like a bit of a cheat tool to help me get into meditation a whole lot faster. So my aha moment on day 3 is you don't have to white knuckle it. There are so many tools and so many paths and so many guided meditations that we can listen to that are going to make it easier. So why not use them if they're at our disposal? So be open to experimenting and seeing, what else is out there and what you can use that's going to be really useful for you. Okay, so on day 4, feeling a little anxious at the end of the day, played a John Assaraf brain entrainment audio in the car. I had to do a lot of running around that day. So I'm thinking, okay, well, let's use this time effectively. And so I used that audio just to kind of, make a conscious effort to reconnect with the higher reason why I'm doing everything and trying to be more mindful. Even though I had a day of running around, I wanted to make sure that I was as mindful and as centered and, in my body and in the moment as I could be. And when, different self-doubts are coming up and different anxieties are coming up, I wanted to be able to release them. And I really want to focus on what it is my job at hand is really growing Mind Movies and serving our, community. So when I got home, rather than read a book this night, I actually watched one of John Assaraf's trainings, the one that was the one about letting go of limiting beliefs and habits. Because, as you start to move towards a goal or you start to create new healthy habits, things like meditating when you're trying to release TV and wine drinking, this is when that little, those programs come to the forefront. This is when they really start to become apparent. So I listened to that particular audio, which is about letting go of limiting beliefs and bad habits and emotions, that kind of stop you from being successful. And to be honest with you, I've actually felt really good after listening to that audio. So then when I went into my meditation, it was awesome. I actually had picked up the momentum from the night before. I kind of had a positive day, and because I had the discipline to do all these things right throughout the day, I think it made it easier for me to step into that meditation for the evening. So the aha I got on that particular day was that when your mind and your body's power dip, you can draw strength from your goals and your purpose. So it helps to, when you're kind of going through the motions and thinking, oh my God, this is so tough, it's going, well, remembering why you're doing it. Who is it that you're serving? How is what you're doing going to really help the people that you love? And it really helps to keep you going. Okay, so now up to day 5. Day 5 is the last day. And this evening, as I sat down to meditate in my bedroom, it actually occurred to me that I had no desire to drink or no desire to watch TV. I was actually looking forward to coming back and getting back into that routine and sitting down and doing my meditation. I loved what I was doing in that moment, and I wouldn't have traded it for the world. Now, I can't recall the last time I was able to release a habit like that so quickly and replace it with such a positive one. And the aha moment I had on that last day is that if you have a game plan, like I said, it's not just enough to know what you want to release, you have to know what you're going to replace it with. So when you have your game plan, you have the determination and the intention to do that, you have a clear intention about where you want to end up, and you have the right tools and you're open to using the tools that you have at your disposal, you can very quickly and effortlessly change your behavior. And so you want to make sure that you honor each part of that equation, because it really is an equation for success. So let me just go over that again. So you have a clear game plan, you have the willpower to keep going, you have your clear intention of where you want to end up, you use the right tools that you have, and that gives you quick and effortless behavioral change. It's really, really powerful. And before I go, I'd love to hear from you. So did you find the information I shared today useful? Your feedback is always important, so please share it in the box below. And don't forget to subscribe to the Mind Movies YouTube channel for more videos on personal growth and the law of attraction. My name is Natalie Ledwell. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.